We are live, I think. We are live on Facebook, Foodicyn, Cellular Nutrition, Let Yourself Healthy, all of the above. Um, I'm not sure if anybody can hear me or if anybody can see me. Just give me a thumbs up. Welcome to live. I can see I've got one eye on me now, so that's good. Okay. This is awesome. This is awesome. Welcome to the first ever live presentation of from the Foodicyn Facebook, I should say, where today we are going to be discussing an amazing topic, which is our limited beliefs and our limiting beliefs. And so at this point, I ask for some patience as I get through this. I don't know who's in there yet. Okay, Elise Belinsky, I see you. Hello, hello. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can hear me, if everything's going well. And I'm going to just wait a few more minutes for some other people to join in, and then I shall begin. And in the meantime, I hope everybody's enjoying this shift of weather. Here in Toronto, we've gone from awesome summer into like a really cool, cold, breezy fall day. So things are changing. There's shifts going on in the air, and so I think, look, we've got a few people on. I am not going to I guess, push this on any further. I think it's time that we get on with Foodicyn and what this whole event is all about. So, again, welcome to those of you there. Welcome to the first of many live educational sessions on the Foodicyn Facebook page. When I delved into my understanding of food and nutrition for the human race, I made a vow to bring it to you and to make it as sexy as possible. And by sexy, I mean simple, educational, convenient, and cost-effective so that you can shine. You see, the challenge with today's world is that the messages have been wrong. The messages have been complete, and they've been designed for a particular purpose. And so when I kind of broke the ceiling on my own, or should I say the glass on my own glass ceiling, I did it with what you can see behind me here, which is referred to as Foodicyn. And so those of you who don't know what Foodicyn is, I'm going to take a quick introduction and I'm going to introduce you to it. So it's made up of 4 formulas. The first one is the red formula. I don't know if we can see the ingredients upside down. My apologies. It's got 15 different blended ingredients in it. This was the initial product that really got me out of my ill health and ill wellness state. Subsequently to that, I've introduced several other products. This is the green energy, which has got, apologize if it's a little bit movie, but it's got 11 different ingredients in it. We've got the gold energy, which is our morning tonic. And then we've got our nutty protein porridge, which is filled with nuts and seeds and super seeds and things like that, superfoods, etc. So Foodicyn became my medicine. And you know, when it did, and it changed everything around in my life, I decided to figure out how to bring it to you, as I said. And so I've spent the last 15 years figuring it out. And as you can see, also, I've written a book about it. It's called Did I Eat Toxic? But I'm not going to get into that right now. What I want to really get into is the explanation of not only what Foodicyn did for me, but how it broke free those limiting beliefs of what ingrained in our society. When I started looking into things, I started realizing that there's 5 key elements that make up the human body or the human life experience. And we're talking about oxygen, hydration, nourishment, shelter, and sleep. And when we look at those and we break them down, most of us in the Western world, we have 4 of those covered. It was the nutrition aspect of it that stuck with me, and I realized, wow, you know, I've got everything else covered, but nutrition seems to be going wrong. So I looked at things a little differently. And on my journey, I came across some interesting stories, interesting people. Just share a quick story with you. I was driving an Uber in Sydney, Australia, when I was in my research and development years, and I had a guy get in my car, and he was a well-dressed man. He was on his way to some sort of a ball, and it turns out that he was the CFO of Cure Cancer Australia. And as we're talking, he didn't know who I was. I didn't know the messages that I was trying to receive at that point in time. But I said to him, "Tell me something. Are we close to finding a cure for cancer?" At which point he looked at me and he said, "We're not looking for a cure. We're just looking to level it out so that we can maintain it." And so I kind of took a gulp, and it was one of those moments that that kind of made me realize, okay, that's what we're up against. And so I carried on my journey. And while carrying on my journey, I never stopped asking the questions of the what, where, who, whys, and whens, and hows of everything. And literally, I must have taken a truckload of onions and peeled back a layer after layer after layer, trying to find out, the science connection, all the connections, which again, you can read about in my book, which is a free download on dideattoxic.com. All you need to do is enter your email address, and there's a benefit to that because when you enter your email address, you get on the list, and each week you'll see what topics we're going to be talking about. You'll see new introductions, new ideas, and new things that are coming our way. So keep that space open. It's a great space to be in. So apologize if you see me looking all over the place. I have little notes that kind of are guiding me in, again, my first live session. So give me a thumbs up if you can. If you're with me and things are going good. I feel rather vulnerable sitting here, but at the same time, I'm loving it, and it's really awesome. So let's get into the what. What are the limiting beliefs that we have today in this world that we live in? And to break it down, just to break it down into a little sections, is the first is we understand the human nutrition on a molecular basis today. And what I mean by that is we're talking about carbs and fats and sugars and proteins and saturated fats and salt and sodium and all that kind of stuff. And it's ingrained in us. And that goes hand in hand with the nutritional panel of today. So when we look at something, when we look at food, we look at the nutritional panel. We calculate, the amount of calories. We look at the amount of sugars and all that. And to put things into perspective, those nutritional labels only came out in 1996. And so 24 years ago, we were still free, eating, experiencing, loving, and living and laughing. So I just want to keep that in mind in your space as we move forward onto how these beliefs came about and then how we're going to break them. So another misconception, another belief that we have, or a misbelief, or a glass ceiling, is milk does a body good. Now, I could talk about the topic for a long time, but I'm not going to. Just bringing up the idea that milk doesn't do a body good, it actually does a body harm. In fact, so those are one of those misconceptions. If you look at a cow, when it's born, it's a cow that's 400 kilograms. By the time it's finished drinking its mother's milk and it's half a year old, it's about 1,000 kilograms, which is a ton. Now, when you look at that and you realize that 1.7 billion people are suffering from obesity, you kind of connected with the dairy industry, milk, and so that's one of those huge misconceptions. I'd urge you to do your own research on that. Again, we can talk about it till the cows come home, but this is not the place to it. The other misconception is protein is beneficial, or I should say, I'll take that word back. Protein is necessary for a healthy human existence. That's not completely incorrect, but it's been driven by a meat eating and a chicken, fish, and red meats kind of industry where all that protein does is help build muscle. It doesn't actually feed your organs at all. And second to that, we're actually not carnivores. So by having protein on a regular basis, we're not really doing a justice for our system. So there's another glass ceiling. But that all ties into the next aspect, which is our needs versus our wants. And when we've been ingrained in society to understand things like dairy and protein, we start believing and we start enjoying what we know to be true to our own self. And so our needs and our wants become fulfilled. Not only do they become fulfilled, but we also jump on any bandwagon with certain trends that come into our play. Trends, and as I get further into it, you'll understand why trends exist and where they come from. But trends don't necessarily stay around for long, but they do leave an energy and a vibration and a taste sensation or a flavor or some sort of an experience in our body that remains with us. So that becomes part of our truth, and it becomes part of our limited abilities of being able to break that glass ceiling of where we are. And so those, in a nutshell, are the main aspects of what the limited beliefs that we live in today. Now, delving a little bit further in, I think I want to figure out, where do they come from? Where do these limited beliefs come from? The first one that comes to mind is it's a cultural thing. I mean, we live in a grand world. Only recently have things become a lot smaller. But back in the day, if you go 150, 200 years ago, culturally, we all ate completely differently. We had different vegetation, we had different animals, we had different cooking styles, and we see that today. It's very prevalent today with our sushi and our Indian and our Ethiopian foods, and you know, Canadian, American foods, it, Italian foods, etc. It's all over the world. It's through culture. The second one is through industry and marketing. You know, these ideas have been put into the forefront. Industry want to sell, and obviously they use marketing as an aspect. And you know, we originally believed marketing to be the way, I guess, not necessarily the truth, but truthful. But subsequently, we've learned that it isn't. So through 40, 50 years of advertising, especially on TV, you can see how that the ideologies have changed, and this is where they come from. Two other aspects. We come from the government and we come from sciences, and I intertwine those two because even though they are not synonymous with each other, but government takes a lot of information from science, and we only got to look at where we are in COVID today to understand that that's exactly how we are living. Science is dictating the government. And so when it comes to the nutritional understanding, obviously governments turn to their sciences. But here's the challenge, is that every government around the world has a different idea about what a healthy nutritional diet for the human body is. So therein lies a big challenge as well. Culturally, depending on where you come from, again, the government tells you different things. Then we look at the medical world. The medical world, I have a huge respect for, because there are some amazing, brilliant doctors out there that help in aspects that we can't. But the biggest challenge that I find is that they've never learned about nutrition. They've never learned about human nutrition. And if they have, they've learned maybe a week or even a month in their 10 years of getting their doctorate or getting their license to practice. And so when you go to a doctor, he's not going to tell you or give you nutritional advice because he hasn't learned that. He's learned sciences and medicine. And so, you know, when we put all our effort into the medical world to give us the answers, they're giving us scientific medical answers. They're not giving us nutritional answers. And theirs is based on molecular, it's not based on the cellular. So there's a disconnection as well. And again, they also come from our own personal choices that we make over the years. Whether it's driven by marketing, whether it's driven by industry, or whether it's driven by our own personal tastes and likes, etc. So as we move forward, we want to try and understand where these beliefs began. And so as we figure things out, we realize that the biggest challenges started taking place in humanity at the turn of the century. But at the same time, it was for the betterment and I guess the expanse of humanity. The World War was over, so all the food that was being made in these factories by the women had ceased. And so when the men came back from war, they jumped into those jobs, and the industries changed the labeling, and before we knew it, there was an industry that was created out of that aspect. So you know, but that created job creation, and it created an economy, and it created movement, and it created money, and it created spending, and you know, all of a sudden infrastructure grew, and we had urban sprawl. And urban sprawl, we're talking about grocery stores, we're talking about fast food movements, we're talking about the convenience of this beautiful, magical world that we live in. And I say that because I believe wholeheartedly that absolutely nothing that I'm talking about now started with any malicious intent. I do say that tongue-in-cheek because I also realize that once these industries were smart enough to know that it was having a bad effect on humanity, they started covering things up. And so from there, we have a real misguided truth as to how the human body was ever supposed to be fed. And so I've mentioned it a couple of times, but the last topic is about who really created these beliefs, you know, and why. We know why they created, but who created them? And we know it was the industries, and I've kind of mentioned it, is that they started it from all good movement to build the economy, to get money flowing, but at the same time, it's created really unhealthy human beings So much so that when you look at the actual numbers, you realize at the turn of the century in 1900, there was 1.7 billion people alive. And today we have, well, we know that number that's alive, but we have more than 2.7 billion people that are suffering with obesity and diabetes and heart disease and every other related disease that belongs to it. So we can see why the dollar has brought us into the space of this glass ceiling. And as we get to that glass ceiling and we're feeling uncomfortable and we're feeling unhealthy and we're looking out and we can't see anything, that's exactly where they've kept us, because one industry begets the next, begets the next. And so industry is where we've kind of put all our faith into. And so the biggest question is, okay, Mark, that's fine. I get that all, but how do you actually break free of this glass ceiling? Well, that's a really good question, because you have to look at nutrition differently. You have to look at nutrition not based on nutrition for the industry, but you got to look at it based on nutrition for the human species and for the human being, because we are human beings. And more importantly, I use that word species because when I was in my journey or on my throes of figuring things out and putting it all together, I remember looking at different species in the world, and I even condensed it to mammals and realized that, if you're born a lion cub, there's no doubt from the day you were born to the day you die that you think about who you are, where do you live, what are you supposed to do, what are you supposed to be, how are you supposed to eat. No, you're a lion, you're a lion, you're a lion. You know what to eat, it's never questioned. And so I started looking at nutrition from that species point of view. So the question again is, how do you break free of the glass ceiling? Well, you return back to the basic instincts. We get back to the basic instincts of our cellular being. Now remember, Foodicyn behind me is about cellular nutrition. It is all about you. It's not about industry. It's not about building anything. It's really just about helping you take your life back to the place of health and wellness, whether you're a young teenager, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, where your life is beginning, or you're already into middle age, 40s, 50s, or even if you're a grandparent. Foodicyn has literally helped hundreds of people over the years of research and development get them to that place of health and wellness, even just boost them. Now, before I go further, there's a few ways you can do it. Number one is you can take 15 years like I did to research it, which let me tell you, there was a vast amount of sacrifice that went with that. And maybe that's for another book down the road. But at this point, let's focus on the one that I've just put all my effort and energy into. But so you can try research it for 15 years, or you can download my book and understand what Nutrition Redefined is all about. Or you can jump into either of the two platforms that I've spent years developing, and you can start alkalizing, fiberizing, vitamin, and mineralizing your body straight away. Now, that is cellular connection. If you look at everything that Mother Nature has made in this world, it is from a cell. And everything that man has made is from a molecular point of view. And so there's a real disconnection there. So moving forward, how can you get involved in this? Well, I've spent years developing a way to, again, make it simple, which we've gone through. I'm now doing the live sessions, which is going to talk about the simplicity and the education of this new definition. But then there's also the convenience and the cost-effective solution to you. So how does that work? Well, Foodicyn you can get to your front door in two different ways. The first way I'm going to talk about is a worldwide opportunity. I've developed a membership platform. All you need to do is log on to blendyourselfhealthy.com. You've got to enter your email address. You can watch the documentary to the end. And then there's a whole platform that I've developed, which I am there to help you blend yourself healthy with Foodicyn. These 4 formulas are available on the membership platform in a video aspect of me helping you chop, prep, dice, put it all together and understand it. And it's a real quick 1-hour session that you just got to get all the ingredients, which I'll send to you. You got to push play and you got to get yourself ready in your kitchen. And before you know it, you'll have a week of Foodicyn in your fridge ready to be blended either every night or every morning when you start your day. And jump on that bandwagon, which has helped so many people over the years. In fact, I've done interviews. If you look on the websites, you'll see there's testimonials based on that. And it just really helps people turn that switch from not feeling good. It helps them crack that glass ceiling to understanding that Mother Nature is the only way to get back to your health and wellness. And so Blend Yourself Healthy is that platform. Again, on there is a documentary that I shot with 10 volunteers that did it for a month. And on that platform is a whole month aspect of it. If you're unsure about the ideas of how it works, by all means, get onto the platform. You can book a free call with me before you've even paid a penny, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. And so that's the blendyourselfhealthy.com platform for a worldwide web aspect where you bring it to your own home and you do it in your own kitchen. The other aspect, which is I'm really excited about, is my Foodicyn.com platform, which is the actual product that you see behind you. It gets delivered to your front door. Now, because I don't have worldwide access on that, at this point in time, I'm offering it only to Toronto residents. So there's a 40-kilometer radius where I will deliver this product to your front door every Sunday evening, starting with tomorrow, if you decide to jump on it and decide to bring Foodicyn into your life. And there's two entry levels for that point. The first one is a 2-day trial. You want to see what it's all about. You want to get the taste of the red and the green and the gold and understand the routine and see, hey, this is something that I can put into my life. Alternatively, you can order it for a week and you get the daily routine. So you'll get 7 reds, 7 greens, 7 protein porridges, and 7 tonics to have, along with a whole list of what you can eat, when can you eat, how can you eat, and a whole platform of how this product will get you back into the throes of things. And so those two platforms, Blend Yourself Healthy and Foodicyn, are available for you whenever you kind of reach that plateau in your own life, whenever you're sick and tired of always feeling sick and tired, whenever you've had enough of that glass ceiling of, man, I'm doing everything I possibly can, but nothing seems to be working. And so to sum it all up in a very short period of time, or a very short sentence, is that the glass ceiling exists only to serve industry. So my point to you is start serving yourself with Foodicyn today. Now, I'm Mark Newman, and I hope to see you on the other side of your health and wellness dreams. Now, before I end this session, I just want to let you know that next week I'm going to be talking about reducing inflammation, which relates to everything about acid versus alkaline. And so I urge you again to download my free book, which you can get on the email list. Download the documentary at blendyourselfhealthy.com. You can get on the email list. Have a look at Foodicyn. There's testimonials all over the place. Book a call with me and let me know if I can help you in any way, shape, or form. Again, this is Mark Newman signing off, and I hope to see you on the other side of your health and wellness.